I'm Megan Jalbeck. I'm a high school senior from Washington, D.C., and I'm representing our Think Pink Society. And I've read a lot about the breast cancer vaccine, and I was just wondering if you think it's going to be as effective as it has been on the trials on mice, on humans, when clinical trials are finally permissible, and if so, since it targets a protein found in women who have breast cancer and who are lactating, what impact that will have on who and when women can receive the vaccine?
So this is a budding immunologist we have, and this is great. And from our grantees, who wants to take a stab at answering the effectiveness of the vaccine question? Obviously, Neal has touched on this already, and you may want to start us off, Neal, but I imagine some of the grantees may want to.
Let's see if there are any non-cowards in the audience. I'll take it. It's probably not going to work because they haven't worked in the past. We can't answer this question just as we can't answer particular patient questions because I don't know which vaccine you're talking about. I think George mentioned this. The reason immunology is working now is we understand a lot more about the immune system. Over the past 20 years, it's not like the scientists were not unintelligent or didn't care. It's just they were trying to treat patients, which is what we try to do, and they had much less knowledge. I think it's possible that vaccines will work in the future. Right now, the only immunotherapy that's worked is once you have the tumor, worked in an appreciable way, giving something that causes the immune system to be much more active. This has side effects, but also causes cancers to shrink. But maybe this vaccine will be the good one, but our experience would suggest it's unlikely it'll work.
I think one thing to remember is I think that you've heard this theme in the panel is that there isn't going to be one thing for breast cancer because it turns out that breast cancer isn't one disease, it's many diseases. And so it's possible in the future that for some particular type, once we really figure out how it works, there may be something that we can do to prevent that with the vaccine. But there isn't likely to be one thing that works because we're talking about a number of diseases, and I think what you hear from all of us is that we want to get to tailored treatment, and then we want to be able to get to tailored prevention, and in fact, tailored screening.
So one of our grantees, and I can't see at this distance who, raise your hand and we'll get a mic to who has an answer. And introduce yourself. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Bob Vonderheide. I'm at the University of Pennsylvania. I've worked in this field for about 10 years. And there has been any number of exciting things that have come out in the last few years. The one you mentioned is fascinating work. And it may go forward as it progresses into clinical trials. There are many, many clinical trials that are out there for breast cancer vaccines and breast cancer immunotherapy. Neal is right. Most have been disappointing, but there's hope that if we're going to talk about curing this disease, we're going to have to invoke the immune system because we think that happens naturally. We just need to be smarter, and the smarts are coming. And the reason I feel optimistic that we'll get there one day, and hopefully in your lifetime and mine, is that it's already starting to happen. There are 2 new drugs approved by the FDA based on evidence that they improve people's survival. A vaccine, in fact, in prostate cancer. That's controversial, but still it passed the FDA, and they're pretty tough critics. And this antibody, which Neal is talking about, in melanoma. And the challenge for us now is to bring that forward to breast cancer, and I think there's real reason to be hopeful. And the final thing is one thing vaccines can do that a lot of these other therapies can't do, and that is prevent from anyone getting this disease in the first place. We know that's how vaccines work. Vaccines have made a huge impact on public health by vaccinating us against pathogens. We don't get that disease. So what we're trying to do is leapfrog and use vaccines as prevention. And there's a lot of strategies for that.